If you thought the Galaxy Note 2 was huge, step aside because the Galaxy Mega, true to its name, is even bigger. It's got a 6.3-inch display, and yes, it's chocked to the gills with some awesome features, including a dual-core processor, an 8-megapixel camera, and the latest version of Android, but still, it is a big, big device. I'm Aaron Baker from PhoneDog.com. This is PhoneDog's full review of this gigantic, I'm not even going to call it a phablet, it's really a tablet phone, the Galaxy Mega 6.3. Take a gander at these two phones side by side, or actually I should say on top of each other, because this is the Samsung Galaxy S4, the flagship Samsung phone in the US. This is the Galaxy Mega, and true to its name, it is a mega device. It makes the Galaxy Note 2 look small with its 5.5-inch HD display. It's actually a mid-range phone when you boil down to the specifications. It's still got some decent specs, but it's definitely a mid-range phone, and it, at least right now, is not available in the United States on any of the wireless carriers. You can pick it up unlocked through specialty online retailers like Negri Electronics, which is where we got ours at negrielectronics.com, and through some other ones as well. But to give you a quick rundown of the specifications here, nothing too major. It's got a 1.7 gigahertz dual-core Snapdragon CPU, a 6.3-inch HD display. That said, it's a gigantic 6.3-inch display, so even being HD, it's only 720 by 1280 in terms of pixels and 223 pixels per inch. So even though it is technically an HD display, the quality, the overall quality on the, for example, the Samsung Galaxy S4, the HTC One, is far better, not just because it's a 1080p display, but because it's a smaller display as well, so it's packing more pixels into a smaller space. I will tell you, after working with the HTC One or Galaxy S4, any of these high-resolution displays, it's definitely noticeable on this device. Very, very pixelated. I shouldn't say very pixelated, but definitely pixelated in comparison to even the Samsung Galaxy S4, which is its flagship brethren on the Samsung side. Other specs include an 8-megapixel camera with 1080p HD video recording, a 3,200 milliamp hour battery, and then 8 gigabytes of internal storage here, of which less than 8 gigabytes are available. I'll double check that for part 2 of the video. I can't remember the exact number, but 1.5 gigabytes of RAM. What it does bring to the table, though, a couple things. One, a design language that's very similar to the Galaxy S4, and two, Android 4.2.2 Jelly Bean with TouchWiz. So the latest version of Android 4.2 out of the box on this device, and that brings it up to where the Galaxy S4 is. So if you're looking for that Galaxy S4 feature set, but maybe you don't need the quad-core processor, you don't need all the bells and whistles, or it's too expensive, whatever the case may be, this may be a good device for you, particularly if you want a big display. Before I get too far, special thanks to our partners at Best Buy Mobile for giving us devices like this, not actually this one, but similar devices for use in our One Paw Bandit instant win game on the site. When you go into Best Buy Mobile to get your US device, whether it's Verizon, AT&T, Sprint, or T-Mobile, they'll get you all hooked up. So when you walk out the door, it's unbiased. They'll give you unbiased advice and help you find the thing that's right for you. So whether it's the Verizon Droid Razr, for example, or perhaps something like the iPhone 5 on AT&T, they'll hook you up and make sure you're good to go. So let's jump right in, and this is going to be a familiar look and feel because if you've worked with the Galaxy S4, any of the Galaxy S devices or Galaxy Note devices in the past, it's a pretty familiar feel here, though that said, it is very similar to the Android version that comes on the Galaxy S4. Out of the box applications, nothing too major here, nothing you wouldn't expect, particularly from an international device. No carrier installed applications. You do get Samsung's App Store, Samsung Link, Story Album, TripAdvisor Video, Samsung's customized video link, Watch On, and then you get a couple of other things on the side, Chat On, typical Samsung stuff, and Google integration. So widgets wise, and again, keeping in mind very similar across the board. I know I keep saying this, but I want to highlight this because this is something, for example, the S3 and the Note 2, they don't have at the moment. This is very similar to the Galaxy S4's overall look and feel between the Android 4.2.2 and then the overall features that it offers. Giving you this as an example here, you can see how similar these are across the board. And the notifications area, and of course Android 4.2 brings you the ability to have all kinds of shortcuts up in the notifications bar and the ability through TouchWiz to edit those. So for example, I use airplane mode pretty regularly, but let's say I use S-Beam a lot too. I can move it up there, close out, and I've got S-Beam right up there for easy access as well. So it brings all of those features, or at least quite a few of the features of Samsung's flagship Galaxy S4. Now, immediately out of the box, you're going to notice a couple of things here. S-Beam is intact on this device, for example, and you can see S-Beam turned off at the moment. And then you've got stuff like AirView over here on my device. And we'll go to AirView, for example, and click, and you've got information preview, progress preview, speed dial, web page, all of that stuff you get on the Galaxy S4, where it's a little bit different when you go to motions and gestures. You can see motion and palm motion. You don't get air gesture over here, which is a Samsung Galaxy S4 feature where you can control your phone by making hand gestures above the sensor. You know, things like, for example, air jumping through web pages or air browsing through pictures, swiping from side to side. You do not get that on the Galaxy Mega. So Samsung did have to preserve some of those software goodies on the Galaxy S4 to keep it obviously as a flagship device. They want to create that brand differentiation between the Galaxy Mega and the Galaxy S4. So keep that in mind if you're looking at this device. You see it also in Smart Screen, where I'll go in here, and Smart Screen has Smart Stay rather is on the Galaxy Mega, but then on the Galaxy S4 you get Smart Rotation and Smart Pause along with Smart Scroll, where you can scroll with your eyes and it goes up and down. So you don't get those features over on the Galaxy Mega, but it's still really a powerful device all around for what you're getting in a giant 6.3-inch display. So we'll take a quick look at messaging here so you can see what it looks like. And you've got a gigantic keyboard, obviously, because the screen is absolutely huge. This thing, and I didn't even get a chance to talk about this, it is a giant device. It makes the Galaxy Note 2 look small. I can't wrap my hand around it, and it's very different because not only is the travel up top, which we're used to that from the Note 2 and the Optimus G Pro, where it takes kind of that extra push to get up top, but also you see it going side to side. I can't even get my thumb all the way across the phone. So not only is it a little bit uncomfortable to go this way, it's also uncomfortable to go this way. This phone is completely impossible or near impossible to manage with a one-handed configuration. So I can say, hey there, for example, but if I need the A, it hurts my hand to do what I'm doing right now on camera. So that's something to keep in mind. It's big, it's pushing it, and there will be people that buy it, obviously. Samsung's definitely done their marketing research, but that said, it hurts not only going vertically, but also going horizontally, and I have pretty long fingers, so something to keep in mind. But if you want that tablet functionality, this is not really a phablet. This is not, I would call this a fully functional tablet that just happens to be a phone as well, because at some point we got to stop calling these things phablets or hybrids. This really, for all purposes, is a tablet. So we'll go over here and we'll drop out a hey, and we'll say something like the Quick Brown Fox is happy. And you'll notice that this one does have autocorrect. This is something that the international Samsung keyboards have, auto replacement, that the US versions do not have. So got that here, and at least on this device it's fast enough to keep up with my typing as well. So portrait landscape, nice and fast. So overall the device is speedy, and like I said in the beginning of the video, the design language here is very similar to what we've seen from the Galaxy S4. Power button on the right side, volume rocker over here on the left, 3.5mm headphone jack up top with your IR port for watch on, camera on the back, micro USB charging port down here at the bottom. So pretty what you would expect to be from a Samsung device, pretty run-of-the-mill in terms of design. 2 capacitive buttons down here at the bottom. Got your ability to do multiple applications at the same time, multi-window, and then of course your physical home button as well. So overall here, pretty functional, pretty similar to what you would expect from Samsung. So we'll load up a website here, phonedog.com, for example, because it really does shine on this display. Whether you're doing content creation or you're watching quite a few videos or whatever the case may be, browsing the web on a regular basis, the screen is good for that, despite being a little bit of a lower resolution display from what we see on the HTC One, the Optimus G Pro, the Samsung Galaxy S4, and all these other devices that are coming out. Still, beautiful display, just at least in terms of size. As you can see right here, fonts look good, everything's clear, and I've got the typical Samsung setup here where I've got my windows. Close that one out, I can create a new window and see my open windows and move quickly and easily between those. Nothing really spectacular here, any different than what we've seen on other Samsung devices. So again, really it's all about the size over on this unit. Keep it locked on phonedog.com. In part 2, we'll talk about the camera. We'll run some speed tests both on the network side because this is an unlocked device, and we'll take a look at overall speeds of this unit to see if it performs well and how it competes with the Galaxy S4 and HTC One and other hot devices on the market. Stick around for part 2 on phonedog.com.